Welcome to IndieCapitol. I'm Pamela Nash, and with me this is Devin Gallagher and Allison Kole. You're here to talk about their documentary film, Married in Spandex, which is actually, Allison, about your sister. How did you get your sister's permission to make a documentary about her?
Well, we originally intended to make a wedding video for them as a gift, and I don't know how it happened. I feel like Devin and I, and even my sister and her partner, all kind of agreed at the same time that this would be a really amazing opportunity to show, one couple's kind of intimate portrait, to show, a young lesbian couple really facing a moment in their lives that everybody else has to too, and also showing that you can be creative and take control of this sort of rite of passage event in your life.
So who dictated how much political or social content was going into the film?
I think we talked about that with our editor up front, that we kind of want this to be a very personal story, and also you can't forget about that political social kind of aspect of it, because it is so big right now in the media, as well as but it wasn't really big in their lives. They weren't necessarily activists for the cause or anything like that, but they just kind of wanted to get married in spandex. But through the process of making the film and doing interviews, they kind of had to explain themselves. So they actually became more, throughout the process, became more of an activist, became more involved in the political side. But as far as the film itself, we just wanted to make a personal story about these people doing getting married in spandex.
How has the gay and lesbian community received this film?
Well, we had our world premiere at Philadelphia Q Fest, and people loved it. And I was really impressed with the different age groups that were in the audience, because we were thinking, because of the performative elements and kind of the wacky performance artist who's the motivation for them to go to Iowa to get married, that it would be a mostly younger crowd. But I think the relatability of the characters really speaks to the strength of the movie, and also to why people, parents, straight and gay couples are really responding to it.
I would say, and I've seen this film, I've actually read a lot on your website, this is a lot also about just being able to do what you want and to celebrate the way you want to celebrate. So what are some of the more traditional roadblocks that they faced?
I think it's kind of funny. You do have a lot of traditional elements, even when they're saying this is so non-traditional. I mean, there's a lot of time in the film and a lot of thought in the planning that went to making of the spandex jumpsuit, which was really like the bridal gown. So you have these sort of moments where you're doing things really under the motto of what a traditional wedding is, but creating different flair. So I think some of the roadblocks to it was more in the fact that it was a do-it-yourself wedding and all this family and friends were pitching in, and sometimes family members didn't know what to do. I remember my aunt said, where's the head table, and where's that going to be, and where is the gift table going to be? And they were like, I don't know, no, that's not happening. So, but there was still other traditional elements. They walked up the aisle, they had groom's or butch's side, and then a bride's mama, or women's side, I guess, I don't know, bridesmaid's side. And so they had all these things sort of mimicking the traditional wedding at the same time. So I thought it was interesting that.
But I think also some of the roadblocks are kind of pretty obvious, that they're going to Iowa. They're going from Philadelphia to Iowa, and they're bringing their family and friends with them. And really, we went out to Iowa, and there really is nothing out in Iowa. There's a Walmart. So coordinating all of these things, getting the decorations, they really didn't anticipate how difficult it might be in an unfamiliar state like Iowa.
So like a destination wedding, but without the actual destination when you got there?
Basically.
And what about, was there any multi-generational impact in your family? I mean, little kids that were too young to understand, older people that were too old to understand, or?
Yeah, there's sort of two examples. I think the first one, and what really kind of captures the audience, is the grandmother character. So up until a week before the wedding, there was really, we didn't really think she was coming. She never really accepted the fact that my sister was gay. never really talked about it. She never treated her any differently, but I think it was something she was hoping that would just disappear. And so she showed up, and she wore a little piece of gold spandex and danced at the wedding. And I'm not saying that she is still extremely excited about it, but she loves my sister and she loves her partner. And she actually came to the premiere and got a round of applause. And I think it was a big transformative experience for her. And then we have a younger cousin who just came out, and I think it was great for him because everybody kind of dressed and tried to fit in a little bit into the theme, and he brought a friend, and I think it was a way for him to kind of come out a little bit more to the family too. And at a younger age, my sister, it took her a really long time. She didn't actually come out directly. She would bring a girl to a family event and not say anything about it, or dress up kind of fun and for Halloween a little bit, to raise questions. But yeah, I think for both ends of the spectrum, it was interesting. And my younger sister, who's 19, came out, and I think for her, she has probably never interacted with this type of people that were there, and seen sort of openly gay people, in her high school from where we're from.
She came out to the wedding. She didn't come out.
Yeah, she came out to the wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Did you think about that at all when you were making this? Like, we have certain responsibilities because there are going to be impressionable children who might be inspired by this or discouraged by it, depending on how we play it. Did you think about that at all?
I think we worried about it, but we didn't do anything to change the trajectory of the story to accommodate any of those concerns. And I guess what I mean is, what if they look like a bad couple? And what if they're not inspiring to people because they're a bad couple, but otherwise they're not real? And there is some conflict you see in the film with them, or, what if, the family doesn't look supportive, or something like that is discouraging to people. So we worried about that. And then we also thought that maybe some people might not like the fact that we don't deal that heavily with the gay marriage debate. It's touched upon, but the fact that they're doing what they want to do, irregardless of the issues kind of swirling about them, that we thought it might look too flippant or something like that. But we sticked with what we thought would happen and what we wanted to include. And I think we're really pleased with how it came out, because I think it is really an inspiring story. And I think a surprise element that came out too was that I think it can be really inspiring for parents. So the parents emerged as a bigger part of the story than we thought, and it was definitely a positive thing.
Devin, did you ever have to step in and say, look, I know it's your sister, but we got a film to make and we've got to tell a narrative story, so just...
There were a couple of moments like that where, I mean, it was also the idea of putting this together was somewhat difficult, because we decided about 6 weeks out from the wedding that we were going to make this documentary, and what that means is about 6 weeks of pre-production. So anybody that is in the film industry knows that that's a very limited time. So it was a lot of do-it-yourself kind of filmmaking. I was shooting and running the sound recording and everything else. Well, she was asking questions, and that was kind of the dynamic. And that's what allowed us to be very kind of intimate with them, and they were very comfortable with us. But there were moments, especially in Iowa, right before the wedding, when kind of things were just not materializing as far as the ceremony was concerned, that we were saying, oh, you just came out here and have been filming. Is this going to actually happen? Is this going to take hold? But yeah, it's a constant kind of, it's a very interesting position to be in, because it's my family too. I mean, we're a couple, so it's very much Allison's family, but we're all a family kind of. So it's those kind of personal issues that you have to manage as well with the film.
So it was a little difficult for you too then, because this is kind of like a sister-in-law kind of relationship. I
exactly.
got it. So did the emotion ever kind of overtake you guys to where you're like, it's the wedding, I don't want to film it, I want to just be there?
I think for me, there's definitely parts of that. I think I was also the maid of honor, so I did take on some responsibilities since there was so much to do in Iowa. so we had some people come out to Iowa to help us, and at the actual ceremony, I checked out. We made a game plan, and I checked out for the ceremony as far as producing for that evening. But we knew what we wanted to get out of it, and since I was part of the planning, I could help the crew do that. I knew what the agenda was and what we could expect. So
you guys have gone to a lot of festivals. You've got more coming up. What do Rachel and Amanda think about all this coverage that they're getting? Did you prepare them for that?
Well, everyone was really surprised to hear this. We didn't actually show them. We showed them some footage as we went, but they didn't actually see the film till the night before the premiere. And it was kind of a very nerve-wracking experience because, what if they just hate it? What if they just hate the way they come off and everything else? And they just cackled for an hour straight.
Yeah.
They just loved it. So we were happy about that. But it was pretty surreal for them because in Philly especially, they got almost every piece of press that on QFest. They were on the front page of, what was
the city paper coverage, and then the Philadelphia Inquirer Weekender, which is, major paper. So, and there were some articles before, so they had been sort of recognized in public a few times. But, they really believe in the sort of message of the film, and I think they were excited about it. And they have a great sense of humor, which is really surprising to me because, my sister is definitely a classic sort of introvert person. Like I said, with her not, coming out till very late, I think, with her sexuality. But yeah, they think it's fantastic.
So they wouldn't be surprised if they started getting phone calls from all over the country for interviews.
Yeah, I hope we have that problem to worry about.
Well, you very well may. You're kind of expanding every month that you get accepted into different festivals in different parts. Talk about some of the festivals that you've been to and some that you're going to.
Yeah, and then actually, my sister came to the one in Iowa. It was a small, really cool festival called Heartacre, and she hopes to come with us to Cork in Ireland too. So they're definitely a part of that. Do you want to talk about some of our...
We can talk about where we've been so far. The premiere at QFest was a huge success. We actually went home with the Audience Award for Best Documentary, which was just amazing. And then the next festival we were in was Heartacre in Iowa, which we took home the best Iowa film centered around Iowa. And then we were actually in the Michigan Women's Music Festival, which actually I wasn't allowed to attend as a male, but it was shown there as well. And then we have some coming up as well.
Yeah, we showed in Fresno last week, and which was a big gay and lesbian film festival. We're screening alongside a lot of the same films, kind of doing the circuit. We're going to Tampa in mid-October, and then in Seattle later in the week, and then in November we're having our international premiere in Cork, Ireland, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how an Irish or Western Irish audience takes it. So.
Oh yeah, I agree. Do we have a clip that we could show?
Sure. Yeah.
What would you say is if you had to pick just one moment to show people, what would you choose?
We like this clip because it's really sort of a montage about what's to come, and I think it shows the viewer that they're about to be taking on a ride that's going to be really colorful and fun. And it also shows Amanda and Rachel together and their day-to-day life in Philly, and basically, and it has the musical elements and part of the ride that the audience is going to go on.
So we'll take a look.
This is what I'm marrying. Non-communication. I wanted to find that forever person. Did it mean that we would marry each other?
No, before this I was very anti-marriage and never thought I'd get married. We were just both in a place we wanted to find somebody that we could love and be happy and stuff like that and build a life with.
I didn't think about it in the way that all my friends were like, I was like, chill out, I got this. You're not in my mind, knowing how right everything feels.
I didn't agree with it. I'm not gonna lie. Rachel knows that. I told her how I felt about it. I just practiced in the mirror saying Amanda and our wife, Amanda and our wife. No, it.
I've always been of the belief that there's so much hate in this world, so why deny two people that are in love to do something?
I had some reservations. Like, I don't really know why people go to other states to get gay married.
To explain to someone why we're getting married in the manner that we are is really hard to do, to say, like, we're gonna get married in gold spandex by our favorite musical performer in Iowa.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, present to you Rachel and Amanda, partners, brides, ladies.
Yeah, can you be a part of that with us? Like,
This is crazy.
Rachel, Amanda, you've got matching heart tattoos. You drove from Ames from Philadelphia. What do you do? I saw you at a drag show. You looking really fine. We met through roller derby 1 year later. Ooh, you're mine. We sealed the deal in Iowa, but I knew that I loved you, Philadelphia. You're good, you're gifted, you're gracious. I gotcha. Call me Grinch. Call me Grill.
I'm getting married in Iowa to my fiance. We're having a big gay wedding, and they're doing a documentary of our lives. This is part of my life. Park. With my chihuahua at a flea market.
I mean, it was kind of like love from the beginning. Like, the first time I heard her tell it like a funny story, I was like, I knew I wanted to be her friend, that I had this attraction to her.
What are you going to do with this film in the future? Are you going to take this, we want to use it as an activist tool, or are you more of a, we're going to go to documentary festivals, or we're going to move on to other projects? What's your intention for this film?
I think a couple goals we have are to get it in some sort of broadcast, whether it be logo TV or PBS in some way, and maybe try and get as many PBS stations to simulcast. But also, I think a goal of mine would be also to, if possible, do some sort of educational component, because I think what we're hearing from especially a lot of Rachel and Amanda's friends, we're saying, I just can't wait to show this to my parents. You know, so it's that kind of, and we've heard that from other people as well. So possibly working with, It Gets Better Project, which is, or even, touring it around to schools, universities that may have communities that would find it very interesting.
That is interesting, because as soon as you said educational, I assumed, and I'm sure everybody assumes, oh yeah, let's talk to young children about how it's okay to come out. But you're actually talking about educating the parents of how to accept. That's a shame that that's needed, but it's good that you've identified that that's needed.
Yeah, I think so. I think what you see through the parents is being at a sort of healthy level of acceptance, but behind that, you can tell that there was a really long road to hoe with that. And I think parents who are starting to come to terms with these ideas need to realize that it's might be a little bit of a long journey, but there's a really positive end, and you can actually participate in the different, elements of, your kid's lifestyle that you think might be foreign to you or different.
What is it about this? Because there's a lot of worse things kids could do that could disappoint their parents, like, end up on the streets taking drugs, alcoholics, getting in fights all the time. There's just a lot more dangerous, tragic things that kids could do. What is it about this that parents just can't seem to get over?
I think it's more a worry about how it's going to play into the family dynamic. I think a lot of the stumbling blocks for maybe parents are what the grandparent is going to think, how this other relative is going to think, and especially when you're talking about a wedding, that's why it's so relatable, because these reactions, you would think that they're specific to the fact that they're gay and getting married in spandex, but they're not, and they're how people act at a wedding and how people go crazy about what other people think or don't, or reject that in this case. But I think that's what I'm really pleased about with the film and the power of the film, that it's a universal experience, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. When somebody says, everybody's got to come to Iowa if you want to go to our wedding, then I could just see the family like, seriously?
Yeah.
Can't you have it here in the hometown?
Yeah.
And we're wearing spandex. You're wearing what?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, people were really concerned. I don't know any spandex. I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's really...
Right, because people want to kind of march through that traditional, like, know what you should wear. And my sister wanted everybody to wear black. And we're like, why? Is it a funeral? Like, and even that simple thing, just please wear black.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to wear black to wedding. And it's a huge...
There was a great quote from Amanda that didn't make it into the movie, is that everyone keeps asking us what we should wear, what we should wear. We just tell them, you know, wear what you're comfortable in. That's what we're doing.
Oh. That is really good advice. And better advice than my sister, who said, you have to wear black, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
hear
mean,
that, Denise?
with the
I hope they cut that.
with the butches and brides mamas, I guess we were calling them, they definitely had an outfit. So that was definitely dictated by
right.
Rachel, for sure.
Which is very typical also, right?
Right.
In a wedding of saying, okay, I
Yeah.
want these people to wear this outfit. And
Yeah. It's definitely food for thought about, you know, what's traditional, what's not, and, you know, what is really off the wall and what's kind of normal. And I think that's why people relate to it. You know, we've had people that who are friends and have seen it because of that, and who are not as, you know, used to. They probably never seen a film like featuring gay people before, and they definitely relate to the characters and feel really close to them at the end. And I think that's what we're going for, and I think that's why shooting for television is a really good goal, because people will see it that might not be part of the advocacy community or might not show up for events like that, but have a curiosity and openness. And I think Amanda and Rachel can really, their charisma and their humor can really touch people.
yeah, that's true. I mean, if you set out with that subject matter in mind and didn't have the main people in place, you could not have done better than the level of enthusiasm and the smiling and the charisma, like you said, of those two. So you really lucked out with that subject. What was it like for you, Devin? Like, most people don't get this deep of a glimpse into somebody's family.
Mm-hmm.
And while you might feel really close to, like, what was that like to get all this intimate knowledge of this family that you could never get any other way?
Yeah, it was. I was standing with Rachel, and we were, I guess, like near the premiere or something. She's like, "Did you think a year ago that you would be here doing this with all of our friends?" Like, no, probably not. But it's been just an amazing. It's been a learning experience, of course, for everybody. But I think that question maybe goes more towards Allison too, because I know, on a serious note, that some of the first times that her family even had the dialogue with your parents was on film.
Yeah, that was the
about,
first. Yeah.
You know.
That was the first time I ever talked to my parents about what happened, how they found out. Really, the first time we talked explicitly about my sister being gay in any way, and that's what you see in the film.
Is anyone in the family mad at you? Like, why did you have to show this to the whole world?
No, I was really nervous. I think almost everyone featured in the film either showed up for the premiere or we had actually, by demand, had another screening, which was so exciting, in Philly. And, you know, a lot of people said a lot of strong opinions. You know, the people who were against the idea of Amanda and Rachel really getting married were their friends, not the family. Which was interesting. So there's like a nuanced perspective, and I was really nervous about capturing that. Really nervous about, you know, my sister's friends, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna probably live with them for a while, having them around, not capturing what they truly wanted to express. Or one of them was really afraid of looking bad because she was pretty explicitly against it on film about the wedding. But I think they all were really happy with it. I think we're really proud of the fact that everybody thinks that's the way it went down, and that's what they said, and it's it's real. It's what happened, and we were able to capture that and still tell a story.
Do you think part of that is because of the collapsed timeline that you had? You didn't really have time to like trick it all out. So.
Could be.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there was a little bit of fate in this project. I always like to say this project found us. And there's something to that. You know, whenever you're applying for grants and things like that, you have to write out what's going to happen in the documentary before it happens. And that's so strange. But I went back and I just imagined it based on what I knew and kind of wrote it out. And I went back and it happened that way. It was kind of interesting. So I think how well I knew the characters and how well I knew everybody else around them and the plans really took the guesswork out of it. So we almost knew our story. We couldn't foresee a lot of the hiccups for sure, or the conflict, or you know, there is a sort of there are some sad moments too. I mean, Rachel's family didn't come to the wedding. They don't have a relationship now, and sort of components of the story like that. But I kind of feel like it all kind of rolled in a very serendipitous way. It was kind of interesting that way.
Mm-hmm. Has this film been presented to Rachel's family?
No, I don't think she's in contact with them. I think she watched it with her younger stepbrothers, and her older brother watched it. But it's really her parents that were the, you know, people that were the problem in her life.
Well, I hope that they get to see it one day, and I mean, because these are marvelous women, like no two ways about it. Whether they were gay or straight, and it doesn't matter, because if you took that element out, you would still have a really good story.
Right.
And I hope that one day her family is able to see her in the same light that we can see her, and that you have presented them both in. And thank you guys both so much for sharing your story with us. Sure. This has been Devin Gallagher and Allison Kole. I'm Pamela Nash for IndieCapitol.